My name is Curtis Hartman. I'm a Senior Vice President with Main Street Capital Corporation. Main Street has been around since the mid-90s, focusing on private equity and debt transactions. We've raised historically about 4 funds and currently have about $300 million under management.
I started High Street Capital in 1997 after I realized that there were many private equity firms that had moved up market and left a hole at the lower end of the middle market to help build smaller middle market companies. So I went out to some of my old partners and said, I'd like to focus on this space. You guys are former business owners and former CEOs. Let's create a fund and let's go out and make investments. Probably in a year or so, we'll be out raising Fund 4. High Street Capital is a Chicago-based private equity firm. We've been around since 1997. We're investing our 3rd fund. We manage over $130 million.
Typically, it takes just as much resources to do a smaller transaction as it does a larger transaction. Frankly, that's something we feel like we bring to the table is institutional capital and a professional, experienced approach that historically has not been readily available to small businesses or lower middle market companies. We've been a pretty active group. We've done, I believe, 9 deals in the last year, approximately 40 over the last 5 years, which for a private equity group would make us very active. We have a very diversified portfolio and are generally industry agnostic. We do tend to focus on basic industries, more old line, basic businesses, if you will, typically manufacturing and business services.
High Street Capital targets niche manufacturing, business services, and value-added distribution firms. We get our capital from former business owners and former CEOs, and we've got operating partners, and they've got experience in certain markets and not others. So we're going to focus on where we have our experience base. We're very growth-oriented, and we have very flexible capital. We'll do controlled transactions, or we'll do minority transactions. We want to find these smaller companies that we can help grow and take them to the next level, where we can help use our operating resources in order to help the company build out its infrastructure and develop and fine-tune its strategic plan in order to help it be successful. Of our team of 5 professionals, we have 2 operating partners that both have been involved in service or niche manufacturing businesses. And their skills in multiple companies over the course of 20 to 30 years is a terrific resource, having seen a lot of different things, both domestically and internationally, that they can bring to these smaller middle market companies that are looking to grow. If they need foreign sourcing, if they need to buy a new plant, if they're looking to acquire a competitor, those are all things that we have a lot of experience in doing. And we can help them also with their human resources planning. We're a resource to help take the company to the next level. It's not easy. It's uncharted waters for a lot of entrepreneurs. They grow their business to a certain point, and then all of a sudden, under the weight of all of that growth, there are things that they don't know how to do as well as some of the things that they were doing when they first started the company.
We are active buyers of small companies, and we have a great deal of experience in working with and looking at and working through the problems of and helping to grow small companies. Since 1998, we have invested in some 65 or more companies and over 30 different platform companies. Our firm, for the past year or 2, has been acquiring a small company probably almost once a month. We buy businesses all the time where we know the folks who are selling are going to leave. They are going to retire. They are going to work themselves out. It's very normal. And that's a process that a lot of buyers are very used to.
So if you've got a company that's reasonably stable, we might do a different type of transaction there. We might do a buyout. We might use a little bit more leverage to create a higher price. Buyers will buy companies that are underperforming. They'll buy companies that are growing rapidly. They'll buy companies that are flat.
A few examples of things that cause deals to fall apart. The first thing that comes to mind is inexperienced legal counsel on the part of the sellers. With all due respect to trusted relationships, the country club buddy who specializes in real estate or estate planning or even general corporate work is not necessarily the right guy, to work on a M&A transaction.
March Group is a very important part of our sourcing because they come in contact with business owners day in and day out that are looking for liquidity events or looking for help to grow their business. We've had an experience where we have a broken deal when we were talking to a business owner directly. And so for me, what had happened in that situation was that business owner didn't really have a good feel for what was required in the market to sell his company. Deals are not done around legal documents alone. There's many, many moving parts here. And getting an intermediary to get involved, to pull together the information, prepare the company for what this process is going to be like, and to make sure that there's momentum in the process to try to get the highest price for the seller is really important and really key. An intermediary can do that much, much better than an attorney or an accountant can. When a business owner goes to sell their company, many times it's the major financial transactions in their lifetime. They usually only develop one company. It takes them 20, 30 years to build a really high quality company. And when they're going to sell it, just like if they were going in for brain surgery, you'd want a brain surgeon to work on you. When you go to sell your company, you need to talk to somebody who's in the market all the time, who knows what's going on with the financing markets, who understands what's happening with pricing, and understands how to put together the materials in a way to get received in the best light. The gentleman said to me, he says, I know the sun's going to come up in the east and set in the west, but I'm not going to give you a rep and warranty that that'll happen.
In the case of Prospect Partners, but also in the case of a lot of private equity firms, we work through intermediaries. We're big believers in the intermediary process, and most of our efforts, most of our marketing, all of our outbound communication is focused on talking with the intermediary community. We tell them about what we've been acquiring and the sorts of things that we're looking for on a day-to-day basis. I think it's worth any person considering selling their business to understand that the intermediary process, from the perspective of a buyer like us, an active buyer, is absolutely critical. We do not spend our time going and trying to approach companies on a direct basis. Anytime you're selling something as important as your business, having a professional between you and the buying community is of great value to you as a seller, and I assure you as a buyer is a great value to us. Yes, there's some costs associated. Yes, there's a time investment associated for everybody, but the process works much, much better. While there's clearly a role for the attorney, there's clearly a role for the accountant, particularly if you have very high quality people associated who have done transactions before. A very important role of the intermediary, and that is to tell your story, to tell it in a way that's going to reverberate in the marketplace, present your business well, get the important information across in a comprehensive but also in an easily read, easily digestible way, and then to be there throughout the process to deal with questions and to deal with a lot of the intricacies that go into getting buyer and seller together, seller over a lot of the issues that sellers have to encounter, due diligence, the meeting with the various buyers, the vetting of the various buyers, the considering of various offers. There's a great deal of complexity. If you've not done it before, and even if you have done it before, you ought to use an intermediary. We're very active buyers for many, many years. It is very rare that we would take one of our companies to market, even if we think we know the seller. Even if someone's approached us and said, we really want to buy your Acme Corp. We think Acme's a perfect fit for us. It's very rare that we will have that conversation with that prospective buyer without an intermediary involved.
An experienced advisor, can be very important to a transaction and add value, really through helping the business owner navigate the process, which can be complicated. We do this for a living. A business owner typically will sell once in a lifetime.